Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see you practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hello, Wildcats. It's your boy, Kev. Just giving you a quick disclaimer here before we start. We are a comedy and crime podcast, and we do cover many serious events such as murders and other mysteries. And even though we cover these true cases, we do like to throw in some dark humor and inappropriate jokes every now and then, so we just want to give you a heads up. And we hope that everyone has a good week and an even better weekend, except for that one guy who sent us a message on Twitter that wasn't really that nice. You're a jerk. And I hope every morning when you take your morning piss, you piss all over your socks, and you don't have any other socks to wear, so you got to spend the whole day with piss socks. Oh, and also, Stevie Wonder, you're not fooling anyone, man. We all know you're not fucking blind. If you think for 1 second that we think you're blind, then maybe you are blind. Blind to the fact that you think we all think you're blind. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be good, stay safe, and laugh at the dark stuff. Hashtag Wildman.
All right, fellas, like we practiced.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Come on down. Come on down. Hanging with the brothers tonight, yeah. Come on down to the brothers Commonplace tonight.
Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Brothers Commonplace, a comedy and crime podcast where we cover monsters, murders, mysteries, and more. And today we got a pretty good voyage to take all y'all on. But before we jump into today's topic, let's meet these sweet, beautiful, just sexy boys.
What's up, guys? This is Tim, or Stanley Ipkiss, as they call me, because I also have to put on a mask to meet girls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, this is Big Brother Boy. You know, your favorite botanist, a.k.a. Big Brother Corn Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, this is Toof, the badass, fat ass, rad ass mofucker.
Yeah.
And it's your boy Kev, a.k.a. the Dirty Dog. And I used to be a member of the Illuminati until I showed up one night with a French tickler and some oils. And now I'm a member of the Illuma Super Naughty.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Him and my mom are sole members.
It's our own little private club.
Yeah, they never fucking let me in.
What, are you trying to build a clubhouse?
Yeah, they never let me in, but I always have to clean up the room afterwards.
Holy shit.
You're the load guy.
I'm here to wipe down the loads.
Alrighty, get ready to join us as we take a journey, an adventure out on the open seas with the cool ocean wind blowing right into our sweet, beautiful boy faces.
Ooh.
An adventure surrounded by mystery and murder. But not just one murder. No, sir. No, ma'am. Hey, not us. They say people don't get high the first time they smoke. Not us.
Not us.
Okay.
The half-baked, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But not just one murder. This boat trip would consist of a triple axe murder. So let's all hop aboard the Herbert Fuller or Fuller and try and figure out who this axe murdering juggalo killer is.
I ain't going with Fuller. Motherfucker pees the bed, dude. We have fucking talked about this before, man.
Hell yeah.
Ain't happening.
It'd suck if he married a girl, or his daughter got married, and the hyphen the name, and the dude's last name was shit. Monica Fuller, shit. Don't trust a word she says.
I got something I'd like to announce. Was delving into some dark restaurants today, and
What?
I can't wait to have my after podcast mega dump from the Taco Bell. I just ingested for the first time in
fuck
like
yeah.
almost a quarter of a year.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm excited to kill Primo's toilet.
Yeah, I'm stoked to lay on the floor and just put my ear up to the door and see what's going on in there.
You turn the vents on, but you turn them on reverse so it blows the fucking smell to you. All right, I got a podcast. I've got my own podcast,
Yes.
everybody. I'm out of here. I've got a Reddit subreddit of the week. Dogs on roofs.
I don't think so.
Shit,
No,
that
that has
sounds
not
good.
been
It's
done.
a bunch of pictures of like dogs on roofs and shit. It's just dogs on people's houses, or like they got windows connected to houses, or
Hell yeah, that sounds fun.
That's pretty
dogs
awesome.
on roofs.
As long as they're safe.
Oh yeah.
Because
And I-
when you said dogs on roofs, I honestly thought there was just going to be a bunch of pictures of cats on floors.
Just keep them dogs away from Bill Cosby, because that's dogs on roofies.
That was good.
Alrighty, honorary brother of the week or honorary sister.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoa.
Hey, sister, so sister.
An awkward artist one on Instagram. She's hilarious. She sent us a nice message with a super funny story in it, and also a very nice 5-star review.
Wait, was that the like really funny one that you read me? Oh yeah, that was awesome. Good stuff.
So here's her review. It says, ridiculous. 5 stars. Hello, Wildcats. You guys are absolutely ridiculous, and I truly can't get enough. With other true crime podcasts, I skip episodes if I've heard the case somewhere else. Not here. You say what I'm thinking, therefore you take the blame.
Oh yeah.
I follow you on Instagram, and I have a mental picture of what you all look like. Any chance you can post a picture with names on it?
Oh my
you
God.
can say, you can say at an awkward artist one. Parentheses, Lauren from St. Louis requested it because I know no one wants to admit their excitement at the chance to yell group selfie. Lastly, actual quote, hello, my name is, name tags are a must in all capital letters. I swear I'm not bossy. In all caps, do it.
Oh my God. Holy shit. We may eventually have to take that selfie.
And also, she designs and makes jewelry. So check it out. Like on her Instagram, she makes a lot of cool shit. And maybe she'll make us something.
Oh.
Can you make me some beads?
Where are they gonna go to?
Yeah, we'll pay for it if you want to. If you could make us something, that'd be sweet.
That would be
send you-
awesome.
We'll buy it however we gotta do it. But yeah,
We'll pay for it in 2 kisses.
So alrighty, here we go. Murder on the Herbert Fuller. And a little bit of history before we jump into the murder case. The name of the ship was the Herbert Fuller, and it was a barkentine ship, which is a sailing vessel with 3 or more masts with a square rigged foremast. It was a cargo ship that sailed around the turn of the 20th century, and it was built in 1890 by William Swan and Son.
Oh, nice.
Actually, wait, what's the name of the company? I think it's on the briefcase right there. Slappy Swanson. Samsonite.
It was way off. I heard that. I mean, this joke has to happen. I'm so sorry, but I heard that originally like 3 people weren't supposed to get on, and it was gonna be called the Herbert Full.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It had to happen. I'm so sorry, guys.
I guess before they named it William Swan and Son. Well, never mind. It was just gonna be that. It was gonna be dumb. It was gonna
No,
be
just-
that they're
just do
just gonna name it. So it was gonna be a Miss Swan joke.
Why would you do that? He looked like a mess.
So we're doing shit jokes now. All right. So this boat came out in the was it 1890s?
It was built in 1890. Yes.
So it came out in the 90s, but they finally did a sequel to it, and they just called it Herbert Fuller House.
Holy shit, dude.
And the ship, it would carry cargo from the northeast to various different ports, primarily in Central and South America. The Herbert Fuller was 180 feet long with a 28-foot beam and an 18-foot draft. So remember the size of the ship. We may reference it later.
Oh my god, it really is almost a Fuller shit joke. Fuller ship. Some guy with a lisp, everyone just thinks he's cussing.
Holy shit.
He's like the recruiting guy. They sent him out. That's how there's like no one on the ship because they sent the lisp guy to go and.
Oh shit.
This Fuller ship is unbelievable.
And it doesn't appear like there's anything all that special or unique about this ship. It was pretty much just your typical ship during this time that was used for everyday shipping and business cargo shipping.
A lot of people don't know this. It's a pretty cool fact, though. Mike Tyson actually fought on this ship. You said something with a lisp. It just reminded me of Mike Tyson.
Okay. Nah, he fought on the Titanic. Down goes Tyson.
And the main haul during this trip we're going to be talking about would be lumber. and murder, Andrew.
Murder, murder, murder.
Andrew knows all about that.
And you might even say that the Herbert Fuller had dangerous lumber.
Well, then, so it's fucking Arnold then.
We need some lumber. What kind? Wood. That's from the Little Rascals movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I love that part.
Ready to jump in? Hey, paper or plastic?
Dude, I was just about to say that. He sits the thing down, paper.
It's
or
just
plastic.
like the poor man's John Goodman.
Yeah, he wishes.
All right, you guys ready to jump onto the case? Any questions about the boat or anything?
I don't think Andrew's ready for us to reveal it's him.
I don't think you're ready, Andrew.
You ready for the reveal?
There was like a 20-year gap from like 1880 to like 1910 where I don't know where the fuck I was.
I know you just named off a 30-year gap. So he did a lot of shit those 30 years.
I could tell by your foreshadowing that something bad happened with some wood here.
Not really. It was just because they were hauling lumber, and I just wanted to make a Hey Arnold joke.
Oh, I thought like wood or something fell on somebody. That's how they died. Because I was like, damn, I wish they had some lumbar support.
Oh, dude, man.
I mean,
Jesus.
they had a lot of lumber, but when this all happened, it was a huge blunder.
And
And it was giving Andrew a lot of wood.
Oh man, that was so bad.
you know what else I heard? That Chris Jericho was actually on the ship, and he was like the inventory guy. And he is like reading down the list. He's like, list 101 item, lumbar.
Just the arm bar. Just the arm bar.
That's a good one.
I knew
That's
that's where he was
good.
going.
Alrighty. So on to the case. Alrighty. Let's travel back to July 1896, where the Herbert Fuller was getting ready to head out to sea, leaving from the port in Boston. And just a side note, you know what else happened in July of 1896?
No, I don't actually.
Columbus sailed the Ocean 6.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Wow.
Two trains collided at Atlantic City in New Jersey, and like 50 people died.
Wow.
Yes, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But alrighty, back to Boston. The Herbert Fuller was loaded with lumber. Boards were stacked everywhere high upon its deck. And on board the ship, there were 11 people in total, including the captain, Charles Nash, and his wife, Laura.
Where they ship off from?
Boston.
They're shipping off from Boston.
And never mind. I was gonna
They
say-
have enough wood to build a wooden leg.
What, is that like My Chemical Romance or something? I don't know.
Dropkick Murphys.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, so there's only 11 people in total on this ship.
Mm.
And the ship, it was supposed to sail out to Rosario. It sounds like a fucking Rosario, a fucking Harry Potter spell.
They're shipping off to Rosario Dawson.
Scared Potter. Rosario.
Oh,
So the
fuck
ship
yeah,
was
dude.
supposed to sail out to Rosario, Argentina. However, after just 18 days at sea, it didn't end up in Argentina. Instead, it turned up in Halifax, Nova Scotia. But that wasn't the only weird thing. The ship, on arrival, only had 8 people aboard now, all while flying high a black distress flag.
Used to have like the name on the side, and it's now back to the Herbert Full
It's like we're no longer over
overcapacity.
capacity.
Yeah.
We're just the Herbert Full. And I think actually misquoted. They were listening to Black Flag.
Oh,
Well, that's actually kinda crazy. I didn't know that ships would do that. That means they have like a whole chest full of flags for like situations. I take it then.
Maybe. Like you should like the white flag. I know the white flag. If it's covered in spaghetti sauce, it just means they're out spaghetti. Fly it. Fly the spaghetti
that's
flag.
actually Andrew's career is like the guy that like sends them spaghetti. Like he's really good at it.
Just don't tell them that, man, because that's a secret career.
If they fly the flag that has one brown stripe down the middle of it, it's because they ran out of flags and they had to use my underwear as a flag.
It's actually really badass though, because at night Andrew is actually mint berry crunch.
Berry crunch. So good.
But there's a reason why there's only 8 people on board now, because 3 people aboard the ship had just been killed with an axe. Those 3 being the captain, Charles Nash, his wife, Laura, and the second mate, August Bloomberg. That was a Russian sailor.
At least he didn't die in war or Vietnam, or else they'd just have to call him MASH.
Shut up. Shut up. The 3 victims, they weren't disposed of and thrown overboard exactly. Instead, they were put into the ship's jolly boat, and they were trailing behind the Herbert Fuller connected by a rope. So they took the 3 murder victims, they put them in that little side ship and just connected them by a rope and dragged them behind.
That was a nice one.
So, I mean, I understand because you don't want 3 dead bodies just hanging out in the ship, stinking the place up, and really just really ruining the vibe.
Yeah, just, get the fuck out of here, guys. You know,
We're trying to have a rave.
Hey, get up, pick your blood with you, get up, fucking go. All right.
And take your Larry the Cable Guy DVD.
So what was that?
That was mine, actually.
No, bring that back. Bring that back.
What was that other little ship called? The Jolly Ship?
Yes.
Why would they
The Jolly
ever?
Boat.
Why would is that just a term for like a side boat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like the name of the little boat. I was like, when is the emergency boat ever going to be jolly? Like, if you're on that, you're never having a fun time.
I feel like the name of it might have been changed after this incident.
It's like as they're about to lower the boat with the 3 dead bodies, they're like, hold up, wait a sec. He comes out with the paint set and writes Jolly Boat on it.
He does it on them like the NWO one. Just with spray paint.
And then the very bottom on the bottom of the dead people's shoes, he writes Andy. Okay, that's dumb. Yeah, so that is what happened. They show up. There's 3 dead people that are being dragged behind. Imagine this scene. You're in Nova Scotia. You're at the port. You see this ship come sailing in with a black distress flag, and then behind it, it's dragging a smaller boat with 3 dead bodies piled in it.
I mean, we've all been there.
It's like a typical Saturday night at the
Andrew house.
at the Flurpender Palace.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it's pretty much like what happens over here after we each drink a can of Sparks. Gets a little naughty in here.
Andrew usually just kills us and puts us on a slip and slide, and he sees what happens.
So sometime during the night/early morning of July 13th to 14th, the 3 victims were murdered, and then the rest of the crew sailed to Halifax because they thought that would be the closest port, which was 750 miles away, and that would take 7 nights to get there. Yeah, so 750 miles away, 7 nights to get there. So those 7 nights had to be the worst time. Just everyone is absolutely scared shitless. Nobody knows who the killer is or why the 3 people were murdered. Just 7 nights, 8 people on board, and then a giant mystery. Who killed the captain, the second mate, and the captain's wife?
It was crazy. Like the lights kept going out. There was like a bunch of people watching from this like camera, and like every time the lights went out, somebody died.
It's that fucking that gay. Is it 8 Night at Freddy's or the fuck is
no,
called?
dude,
no, 5 Night at Freddy's.
No, dude, this was Devil.
Oh,
okay.
With the lights going out,
Okay,
everybody,
yeah.
somebody dies every time the lights come back on.
I thought you were describing 5 Night at Freddy's.
Dude,
Dude.
I honestly don't know what the fuck that is.
It's a video
but,
game, like a scary
I know.
game.
Like my nephew likes it a lot. I have no idea what the fuck that is at all.
Dude, if they stayed on that boat one more day, it would have been a fucking Adam Sandler would have had copyright on him.
God damn it, too.
8 crazy nights.
I was trying to formulate that into a joke, and you stole it, you son of a bitch.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
That was good.
That was good, dude. So imagine how scary that would be. 3 people get murdered on the ship. Everyone that's remaining is claiming they didn't do it. They have no idea who did it. You don't know why everyone was killed. All you know is that you're not going to be in port for another 7 to 8 days.
Yeah.
So you're just like, fuck, is the killer going to kill again? What the fuck's going to happen?
Yeah, that would suck.
I was actually, I had a couple things of memorabilia left over from that place, but I'm pretty sure, because I had that 30-year gap, and I cannot find my Joe Dirt 2 DVD, so that might have been what happened.
That's what they were watching that on repeat.
For 7 nights.
We didn't add this part in, but they also found the rest of the crew had committed suicide. So that kind of goes along with it.
So let's talk about some of the crew on board real quick. We already mentioned the captain, Charles Nash, and his wife, Laura, as well as the second mate, August Bloomberg, and those were the 3 that were deceased. So also on board was the first mate, a man named Thomas M. Bram. He was a former restaurant manager that had decided to return to his original occupation of a sailor.
I wonder what the fuck it was like to be a restaurant manager back then.
It was hell, man. It was hell.
I mean,
I hated it.
I mean, I've been a restaurant manager, but back then it just, I don't know. I keep thinking of how much different everything, the 2 trains hitting and all that. how different all that was in the 1800s.
Oh, speaking of those two trains hitting, where was Mothman at the time?
I don't know, Andrew. Where were you?
30-year gap, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was also a crew member by the name of Julius or Justice Leopold Westerberg that for some reason went by Charlie Brown.
He did it.
Oh my fucking God, really?
And
fucking hope
I
so.
guess the axe murderer actually tried to kill him, but he got out of the way and he yelled, "Slide to the left."
I really thought you were going to do a Lucy pulling the football joke.
Crisscross. And that was just when he listened to his favorite band. All right, so Charlie or Julius, well, we're going to refer to him as Charlie Brown. He was described as being jolly and talkative, and he would even talk out loud to himself on many occasions. However, it was known that on his last voyage, he had suffered an episode of paranoid delusions, and he would sometimes get into it with the first mate.
He was really pissed they kept making him do Charlie work.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, I can relate to this guy about talking out loud because sometimes I'll catch myself, like I'll put the popcorn in for 3 minutes and I'm like, I'll say it out loud, like, oh my God, I think it stopped popping. Pop, pop, pop. Fuck, goddamn, when's it gonna fucking stop popping, man? And it's a fucking timed game, dude, because like, popcorn's crazy, dude. You have split fucking seconds between it stops
Good
popping and your shit's burnt.
Yeah.
Like there is the finest fucking line of all time there with me.
You're like stressing me out. We're not even making popcorn, and I'm like, fuck.
It's like I want to leave the podcast and run to the microwave,
I know.
and there's nothing in there.
Someone want to check that?
Andrew, go ahead.
So the actual crew consisted of 9 total people, and then there was also the captain's wife and a Harvard student by the name of Lester Monks. So that's what makes the 11 total. There's 9 crew, then the wife, and then this student. So Lester, he was the only one that was aboard the ship for personal reasons, not involving work or business. This trip was simply pleasure for him. His doctor had advised him to take a sea voyage, quote, for his health. Because you see, Lester, he was a bit of an alcoholic as well as being a college student, and his doctor was hoping to slow down his drinking by sending him out onto a ship voyage, but that plan kind of backfired because Lester packed with him some whiskey, some brandy, and around 60 bottles of beer with him.
I remember reading all
wow.
that. Yeah. That's...
So what, did he throw the other 40 on the wall?
It's just really just 40
It's just
bottles of beer.
100
Okay.
bottles of beer.
Okay, gotcha.
And one important note here as well, none of the people aboard the ship knew each other. So just the captain and the wife, of course, but the rest were all strangers.
They were, no wonder every time they got on the ship that they kept just yelling stranger danger the whole time.
Every time, stranger danger. God, no one. Imagine this entire ship the whole time. Everyone referred to each other as stranger danger. No wonder they flipped out and killed
I mean,
people.
Andrew would know because he did it. But also, do you guys think that like nowadays people would get pissed off that the wife was not referred to as part of the crew?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that would piss people off.
But the crew, they were all said to have gotten along pretty well, though, except for Thomas Bram and Charlie Brown. I guess they were said not to have really liked each other that much, but they were also 2 that ended up surviving in the end, so there's that. And Bram was noted as not being too fond of the captain either, and it was later reported by the steward that Bram had said in regards to the captain, quote, "Here is a man who has a good wife and is not deserving of her."
Oh.
And he also added in, quote, "Some other sport will dash his money up against the wall," which I don't really know what that means.
What the fuck does that even mean?
But I mean, how does he? I don't know how he would know if the captain was good enough for this wife or not
does he
if they
not
didn't
fucking
know each
know him?
other.
Yeah. He just saw him walking on. He's like, damn, that girl's hot. You are not good enough for that chick, man.
Actually, now that I think about it, I was watching a show on Netflix last night, and it was about like houses that look normal on the outside, then on the inside they're real nice. And there was this couple where this girl was like super hot. And they showed the guy, and I was like, oh, come on,
Yeah.
dude. This guy's got to be fucking rich, or there's just no one else in this town. Because he did not deserve that.
Kev.
So I kind of understand where he's coming from now.
yeah.
Maybe he eats the booty hole.
Maybe he does. I don't know.
If that's the case, Andrew's dating everybody in town, man.
That's how I got my
Yeah, I'll
girlfriends.
say.
I just go for that booty hole.
Hey, fuck you, dude. I liked you before that.
Yeah, it was cool how you guys figured out that's what you were into on your first date when you were roller skating. And you went to country skate land and had a little trip. and just
Yeah, we had a little trip, and then we saw each other next fall, so I fell right into his ass.
Oh yeah,
hell
he
yeah.
did.
Then he didn't get back up after that trip until dinner was done.
Hey, finish your plate. Or no, it was a clean your plate.
Yeah, you play. Oh.
You try to get, like, you're eating her butthole, and you try to get away, and she says that. She's like, no, finish your plate. What are we talking about?
She looks back and does that like devil voice from Scary Movie when she's like, say my name, bitch. Like she does that. Finish your plate.
They used to call Andrew the human bidet because once
we already know.
because once his wet lips hit your bunghole, they'll have you fucking screaming a commercial calling yourself Mr. Kling.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Andrew, I didn't realize how fucking just naughty you were.
Oh, dude.
They did always call me Spick and Span in high school.
Holy shit.
Fuck
I like how we've devoted like 5 minutes just talking about Andrew eats butthole.
The actual voyage so far was said to have been pretty uneventful, and I imagine being on a ship with 10 other people and nothing to really do, though, would get boring, and people probably started getting annoyed with each other or getting on each other's nerves. That's just a guess. I have no idea, but I mean, if you're stuck in a boat with people for a while with absolutely nothing to do, I imagine shit probably gets to you.
Imagine being on the shitter without your cell phone for more than 30 minutes. Just imagine that, but 8 days worth. Because that's what's like with those fucking filthy animals on board that ship.
I was gonna ask, and I'm guessing they did, but they had board games back then, right?
That's what the wood was for.
Yeah, but they weren't very good, and it was spelled Bored games. That is dumb. They
probably not like fucking Monopoly or Life, but I'm sure they had some.
They had
Definitely at least card games.
They had a game called Morton's List. It was that game that Jump Steady made that they used to sell on Hatchet Gear, but they had to ban it because it was like doing real shit. Like you'd roll dice and be like, okay, go stop a robbery and like shit like that. It wasn't really like that word for word, but
there might have been some board games on there because there was a woman on board. You know, they're always playing games.
Oh,
damn!
Yeah. Take that, female race.
So now, the night of July 13th, Charlie Brown, he was on shift, and he was currently the man at the steering wheel. He claims that he thought he saw the first mate, Thomas Bram, beating someone in the captain's cabin through the overhead skylight. The captain's room was the chart room, though, not his actual main room. So he had like a cot down there in the chart room, and he was in there taking a nap. So Charlie Brown claims that he saw Thomas Bram go in there and look like he was attacking him.
Wait, what about the cot?
It was just a cot that the captain was sleeping on.
Oh, that like fold out bed thing?
I mean, just probably more like just like a little cot back then.
Did they knock it over? Like, was it the last one they had in stock? Because I think it was the final cot down.
Oh, Jesus, dude. Holy shit, man.
And he said that it looked like Thomas Bram was wielding an axe, and it also appeared that he saw somebody lying on the floor. And next, Bram then entered into the main cabin where Laura Nash was asleep. And then Charlie claimed he heard her screams. So, like, he heard the screams of the captain's wife. And all of this was around 2 a.m. or so, according to Charlie. And then, after a few minutes, Bram reemerged on the deck. He didn't say anything about anything that just happened, and then just continued moving on with whatever he was doing on the ship. That is all according to Charlie what happened.
Yeah, so for one, why fucking sit there and watch it all happen?
Yeah, we'll talk about theories at the end. There'll be a theory section because I know how Tooth likes to mention theories before we even get into the story.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a little bit like of a theory, but that was my question. I'll leave it there though.
Yeah.
First theory: he wasn't chopping with the axe; he was just chopping the wood. There's wood on the ship.
All right.
Wait, so the guy that watched through the peephole was the one that was jealous of the guy's wife, right? That he can't pleasure his wife or whatever?
No, this was Charlie Brown. He was the wheelman at the time.
Okay. And the guy that was jealous of the guy's wife was Barnum Brown or whatever?
Bram is the one who said he was jealous of the captain's wife.
Okay.
This is, and all these are just according to the people on the ship.
Yeah, I gotcha. Who are all strangers anyway.
So yeah, Charlie, He's the wheelman, and he claims that from where he was at the steering wheel, that he could see through like part of this light or part of this hole, and he could see this. But the thing is it's fucking like 2 a.m. at the late 1800s. There's like no light either, you know? Maybe he saw it, maybe he didn't. We'll talk about this stuff later.
Absolutely.
And it was around this time that another crew member, Francis Lohiak, came to take over for Charlie Brown at the wheel of the ship. And then Brown doesn't say anything at all about what he had witnessed or quote witnessed. And then he joined another crew member named Hendrick, and they were on the shift as lookout for the rest of the night. He later, when he's later telling the story, that's when he says he saw all this go down. But he didn't say anything to the next guy taking over the wheel.
Yeah, like
so
that's his line.
And then he goes to do lookout with Hendrick. And I imagine they were probably just on like a crow's nest or something. Smell ice, can ya?
Oh, that's where I was going to, yeah.
So that's a little weird if he did witness all that happen. But you would think if he did witness it, he would have said something.
Oh, yeah. Or, fucking tried to stop it if you're just watching it all.
Yeah.
So far, so creepy.
It is. And now Francis Lohiak, the wheelman, or the current wheelman, he said he heard a, quote, gurgling noise. He blamed me. You heard him. Those were his last words.
Not if you count the gurgling sound.
Okay, that's just a Dumb and Dumber quote. But no, Francis did say he heard a, quote, gurgling noise. And he hears a gurgling noise coming from the chart room. He then saw Bram walk down the steps of the deck. And he was then said to have turned and ran back up the steps as Lester Monks was heard yelling out, "Mr. Bram, come down." So Lester, just a reminder, he was the Harvard student.
I have to get my third grade joke in there, but I was in a different room and I was having some issues, so they heard a lot of noise coming from the fart room.
Damn. I almost had that same joke, but instead of it being fart room, it was the shart room.
Oh, yeah.
I had to get my third grade joke out of there. Any kids listening will laugh at that.
So he says he heard a gurgling noise. Then he saw Bram coming downstairs, which, if Bram was the one that did it, I don't know why he would be coming downstairs from the ship. Like, if he was up top, then he couldn't have been down in the ship doing it,
Yeah,
unless
absolutely.
he ran up and ran down.
Yeah,
Maybe
he was trying to get his exercise in afterwards. He wanted to get his steps in with his Fitbit.
He's got his, and like the steps are only like 4 steps, so he's running up and down them real quick, checking his Fitbit.
He only killed them because he knows he has to swing his arm a bunch. He's swinging his fucking axe trying to get his steps in.
And never mind. I was gonna make a joke about, we mentioned Taking Back Sunday earlier, but he's listening to Taking Back Sunday and he's running up and down the steps and he only sings the background guy's parts where he's like, "I got a bad feeling about this." He just keeps repeating that.
Maybe he was stuck in that painting where there's like a bunch of stairs going a bunch of different directions and like they all lead out to the same spot though somehow.
He just went to Hogwarts.
Oh my god, they kept changing on him.
So Lester Monks, he claims that he had been awakened by Mrs. Nash's scream, and then as he was walking by, he heard heavy, ominous breathing from the chart room, which was located next to his cabin. So Lester Monks, he claims that he heard the screams, and then his room is next to the chart room. And with no clue of what the hell was going on, he grabbed a revolver, and this is a gun that he kept under his pillow while he slept, and then he called out for the captain. And since he got no response from the captain, he opened the door that connected his room to the chart room, and then he headed in. And he saw Captain Nash lying on the floor, breathing with, quote, labored gasps, and he was painfully dying. Monks then ran into the main cabin to check on the captain's wife, and with such dark and dim lighting, he wasn't able to see her anywhere, but somehow he was able to make out dark patches in the area, he said, which turned out to be chunks of her hair.
Is that when he screamed out, "Everybody, everybody, everybody run, murdering, murdering, murdering fun. Swing, 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 chop, chop, chop,
Fuck yeah.
swing, swing, swing."
Chop, chop, chop.
Fuck yeah.
Alrighty.
The answer is yes.
And at this point, Monks is like, "Oh shit, somebody's murdering people on the ship." So he takes his gun and he returns to deck with it, and then he calls out for the first mate, Thomas Bram, to come to him, telling him, "The captain is killed." And Bram, he comes out and he sees Monks is holding a gun, and he's like, "No, no!" It says he cried out no, like thinking Monks is about to shoot and kill him.
Oh fuck yeah.
Wait,
And
no, this isn't right. At first, Bram pointed at him with his fingers, then pointed at his eyes, and he said, "Look at me, I'm the captain now."
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. But yeah, so like no one knows what the fuck's going on. There's just people running around now. So Lester comes out with a gun and he calls out for Thomas Bram, saying the captain is killed. And Lester was then in like super defense mode, telling him that like, no, it wasn't me. I'm not the one that killed the captain and his wife. It wasn't me. And so the two, they then head back to Monk's cabin so that Lester could change out of his pajamas, which is a little... I can't quit you. No, so that's a little weird. And on the way, Bram also retrieved his own revolver.
I heard after their little thing together, Bram started calling him Mo. Mo loves me. I'm sorry.
And so Lester knew that they would get their revolver switched up eventually, so he painted his a dark purple.
I knew it, you son of a bitch.
He called it his velvet revolver. Damn.
And then they died of a heroin overdose. I'm guessing that's what happened. Isn't that what happened to him?
Yeah.
It had to be that. Okay. Yeah, so the two, they meet up, and they're like, well, there's something going on. The captain and his wife were killed. I have a gun. Come with me back to my room. And they go back there. Lester changes out of his pajamas, so he gets a change of clothes. And then Bram picks up his revolver on the way there. Now, in order to get to Lester's room, they had to pass through the chart room again, which had the captain lying in there. And he's still alive, by the way, but he's dying, and he's on his last breaths. The whole time, the captain's still alive, but he's just fucking barely alive, because he is barely breathing.
I am fine here.
But the thing is, I really don't know what all they could have done for him, honestly. I don't know. I mean, it's a crew of like 9 people. They don't sound like they...
What if they just like went over and beef stewed him a couple times?
God, dude.
Hey, Harvard boy, go fix him up. Honestly, that's probably what I would have said, really.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, we need to put him out of his misery. The only thing we have are these ninja stars. And the light, since it's dark, every now and then they hear a ting, 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 and then they hear
Like, I hope they like stood like super far away to try to like be better than the other. Nah, I can get it from back here, guys.
like when you're trying to piss in a urinal and you keep backing up. They keep doing that.
They couldn't see, and then one of the guys muttered out, "So this is what Stevie Wonder must feel like."
And Lester Monk said that Bram was silent while passing through the chart room, and he really didn't seem at all like fazed by the fact that the captain was laying in there dying. And he never asked about the captain's wife or where the second mate, August Bloomberg, was either, even though both of them were unaccounted for at this time. So Monks, he changes his clothes, and then
so they're all walking past the room where the captain is, and he's still alive, but like he's on the verge of dying, and no one just like, "Hey, captain, who did this?" or like point to who did this or anything. Yeah. Or did he get attacked at night?
No, this is all like 2 a.m.
Oh, I mean, there's probably like candlelight still or something. Like, I'm just amazed that no one's like, "Captain, who did this?" Like, no one even talks to Captain. They're just like, "That fucker's dead, so let's just go in this room real quick." Pajama party.
Yeah. It's possible that like maybe he couldn't like talk or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of think the same thing. They maybe could have like tried more with him, or at least try to like find out who did it.
Or try and bandage him up or anything.
I know there's probably not a whole lot they can do, and I don't know because this is just reports from the people on the crew, but it sounds like no one really tried to do anything or like really try to talk to him. Even like there's probably no chance he would be able to tell you anything.
Yeah,
but they could have tried.
Could have, yeah, at least tried.
So Monks, he changes his clothes, and the two men, they head back through, which means they have to head back through the chart room again over the dying captain, past the door to the captain's main room where his wife is dead, and then onto the deck.
I heard that when the captain passed away, they had like a tiny coffin that they couldn't fit him in, so they like compress his body and put him in there. They didn't really have any like things to make the body smell good, so they put like some like strawberries and blueberries and stuff. They wrote on the coffin Captain Crunch with berries. That's so fucking low.
And like
so low.
So good.
And I guess they were like, man, this dead body, it sucks the captain that he's dead, but he's really like stinking up the place. We got to get rid of him. So they put him like in like the toilet, and they also put a couple Joe Dirt 2 DVDs on top of him. And they're like, "What are we doing? Why are we doing this?" And he's like, "Well, isn't it obvious? The captain goes down with the shit."
Oh yes, dude.
Fuck yeah,
Dude, I just figured out a way to find out who the killer is. Check the roof of everybody's mouth, because we all know Captain injures the roof of your mouth.
It does. Yeah, that it does. And then Bram, once they come up onto the deck, he asked Lohik, the current wheelman, if they knew where Bloomberg was, and all he said was, "Forward." Bram then returned to Monks and said that there's a mutiny. The whole crew has mutinied and they may rush on us. Bram knelt before Monks, grabbing his legs and begging for his protection.
Whoa.
He then stumbled around the deck and began vomiting and then muttering that Bloomberg had poisoned him.
Huh.
Everyone was like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like where did this come from?"
Is this the drunk guy? No, this isn't even the drunk.
No, this isn't the drunk guy. This
Holy
is,
shit.
this is Bram.
Wait a minute.
That's a skating name.
Oh my god. Bram is my skating name.
These are all serial guys. Serial killers. Captain Crunch, Raisin Bram. We've got a serial killer on board.
Let's just 2 of them.
And at this time, Monks would later recall in his own words, he was excited but nervous. He then took Bram to the front of the ship so they could both monitor over both sides, and also so they could guard over Lohik, the wheelman. So they pretty much just sat back to back like Forrest and Bubba until the sun came up and there was some light finally. So that's what sucks is like as soon as the sun goes down, you can't see shit and you have no idea what the fuck's going to happen, if someone's going to kill again or anything like that. So they're pretty much just sitting back to back.
I always like sitting ass to ass. So like whenever I fart, somebody else gets warm and they shake their ass cheeks with mine.
Like I guess like Andrew was actually originally on the ship. They threw him overboard because he kept wanting to act out the end of Requiem for a Dream.
I've never seen that.
Oh, dude.
Ass to ass.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
13-year-old Jeremiah loved that scene. He would.
Oh, dude, that's horrible.
We're talking about the double-ended dildo thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. We talking about. It's fucking sweet. Those two sweaty, drugged-up bitches just banging butts together.
Hopefully nobody's seen the movie.
Okay. And when the sun was up, they found the steward on the ship. He was a man named Jonathan Spencer, and they told him about the murders and how there's possibly a mutiny going on. And Spencer, he then went down into one of the rooms, and this is when Bloomberg's body is found. He runs up terrified and screaming, and then Bram yells out, "There is an axe! There is the axe that did it!" And he was gesturing towards the half-concealed axe, and it was covered in blood. And Bram, he then picked up the axe, and he's like, "This is the axe that has done it. Shall I throw it over?" And then before anyone answers, he chucks it overboard.
It was fucking Bram. It was fucking Bram,
my
guys.
God, dude.
Holy shit.
Shall I throw
man.
it over? Throw it over. I can't. It'll smush. That's a heavyweights
Oh
joke.
my God. Red Rover, throw the axe over.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Little smush.
He was playing the very first version of Bop It, but it was just called Throw It, and that was the only option.
Throw it. Throw it.
Throw it.
Throw
This
it.
game's fucking awesome, man.
Man, you just
That's how he killed him. Like he was just playing the game. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Just tell me to throw it.
you brought up a sad point in my life when I grew up an only child and had a football because that's all I could do. There's no one to throw it to. Just throw it. Throw it.
You do that thing that like people do like whenever they're like thinking in movies and they're throwing a tennis ball against the wall. You're doing that, but with the football, so it just bounces off at other angles, and you have to go get it.
Well, you made that really cool video though of you being a quarterback.
Oh my God,
Uncle Rico again.
dude, have you
He's
seen?
coming up every podcast.
Have you seen or heard about the RG3 with the Redskins just punting the football back and forth?
No.
Just real quick, sports thing. After like things got bad with the Redskins and like they didn't want him on the team anymore, like he was just a scrub. They said in practice, like after practice was over or like that very end of practice, he would just punt a football back and forth. Like he would punt a football, go over and grab it and just punt it, and he would just keep punting the football. And that's it. That's like his practice would end. What the
really
fuck?
practice.
Yeah, they said it was like the saddest thing ever. Like
Okay.
So as far as throwing the axe over, I mean, we'll talk about it more in theories, but we'll just mention right now, some say that maybe because it was evidence, or maybe because it was superstition that caused them to throw it over. Because, I mean, back then with evidence, you're not really going to get fingerprints or be able to test anything on it. So some say it's possibly due to superstition as to why he threw the axe over. Like maybe thinking, well, if we get rid of the axe, no one can kill again with the axe, or just it was a bad omen having it. So who knows?
Absolutely.
That's like the greatest way to get rid of evidence is like proclaim that like you're the innocent guy. Like, oh, this axe, let's just throw it over. They'd be like, OJ be like, oh, I think I found a glove. Let's just get rid of this. It's garbage.
It doesn't fucking fit me. Why would I keep it?
So this is the time that the rest and remaining crew are all made aware of the situation on board. So they're like, gather round. There's been a brutal triple murder. Also, the murderer is one of you guys, and we don't know which one it was. But at least the sun is up for now. So it's like a giant game of Clue going on.
Yeah.
And Bram, he continued his strange, jittery behavior, noting several times that he and the captain had been Freemasons. And at one point, he described himself as a widow's son. And everyone is just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? He's completely lost it.
Yeah.
So some people think it's strange, or maybe he was just like, 3 people on the ship got murdered. You're probably convinced you're going to die too. Who knows if that's just making him lose it or what's going on.
It's not confirmed. I only saw on like one source, but I heard he kept asking everybody to play Jizz Biscuit.
I always hated that game. I always fucking lost.
However, though, when Bram finally calmed down, he did have a pretty good theory on the solution to the triple murder. So that's pretty good. Like, this is the type of guy who's probably would just kick ass at the game of Clue. Like, he actually had a pretty good theory. This was his theory. Obviously, the 2 men together killed Mrs. Nash. Then they killed each other. Quote, we must not blame the living for the dead. The dead can't speak for themselves. And then they said that he seemed like he was kind of like, yeah, that's a pretty good theory, right, guys? That's probably good.
That's what happened. I just thought of that myself because I was the one that did it. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And the crew kind of were like, okay. And then, like, instantly we're like, this makes absolutely no fucking sense at all. So we're going to try and narrow down who the fucking killer is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once again, Bram's the guy who had the crush on his wife, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he had a crush on her.
Or just like, you don't deserve her. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And this is kind of strange, but Lester Monks, who was the only one who was on this boat ride for like pure pleasure, just to be on it, they said after the murders, he's the one who kind of took over as like the captain in a way. Like, he was in control, and he would gather around the crew and ask them questions and hear their stories and versions of it. So it's kind of like the only guy here with no experience all of a sudden is the one trying to take charge.
But he's Harvard guy though, right?
Yeah.
So he probably just thought like he was smarter than everybody. That sounds
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like something like a Harvard dude would probably do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and another joke I was gonna say, like the one guy saying he was the son of a widow and that he was something else. I was like, what's he gonna say next that he's vegan?
Okay.
That's yeah.
And this is the time where it was decided that the 3 murdered bodies were beginning to stink and that they would be put into a small boat and dragged behind the ship. I thought I also heard that they thought about just throwing the bodies overboard, but they decided against it.
This is actually a legit question. Them doing that, wouldn't that attract like a fucking ton of sharks?
Well, if it's in the boat,
can they smell it? Like, I guess
well,
maybe not as much.
I mean, it is gonna reek because it's gonna be 7 to 8 days in July.
Yeah.
Out in the fucking sun and water, so it is gonna stink and be nasty. But I think out of like respect, I think they wanted to have bodies to bury, or maybe if they could get any clues or something. I don't know. Like I said, it could be a superstitious thing also. It's the late 1800s and they're on a ship and all this bad shit's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly, I don't think the bodies would have smelled that bad. Honestly, that's pretty weak in comparison to what I used to do in the summer times. I never felt like getting out of bed for like days on days, so I'd always have like 2-liter bottles beside me, so I would just piss in them and leave them under my bed. I had so many under there by the end of the summer. I just left them there.
What? Like,
Piss and shit in the bottles. They would just.
oh.
Andrew is actually the one who came up with Jankum.
That's right.
Imagine trying to shit in a bottle. Imagine if it was like a solid turd.
A funnel. You get a funnel in it, and you just fucking plop into it.
Well, that's what like the oil ones. Yeah, that's what I usually did.
It's like the one thing I haven't done yet.
If it was gonna be a solid one, you just cut off the top of it, and you're like, yeah, this will work.
Did you really have piss jugs though?
No.
Oh damn! I'll say like I could tell how unhealthy I was because I'd have a piss jug or I'd have a bunch of piss jugs, and like my peak, I probably literally had over 10 piss jugs in my room.
It was fucking disgusting. Tooth. I swear. Okay, and this is the thing. Tooth would always. I go over his house. He'd have all these piss jugs. I'm like, Tooth, you really can't get up and go to the bathroom. The doorway across from his, no joke, 2 steps to get from his room to the bathroom. I was like, dude, you can't walk there to take a piss, man. He's like, what if I'm playing Xbox?
Yeah, most of those.
There's like 3 Gatorade jugs. Like, holy, how long have you been fucking playing Xbox?
Hey, don't turn the listeners against me, all right? I was playing Call of Duty Zombies online. If no one had a crawler, I couldn't pause the game. My Call of Duty bros know that. But this is how I was talking about piss jugs. Like, this is how I could tell how unhealthy I was. I'd have piss jugs just sit around for like a month, and they collect so much fat in the bottom of them, and like I could just tell how fucking nasty and like unhealthy I was. I'd have like literally like layers of fat on the bottom of my piss jugs.
Why would you keep them for a month?
I'm a lazy guy.
How many times during that month did you walk from your room past the bathroom? You couldn't
Dude.
dump them in the
No,
toilet.
I feel like
fucking worst.
Tooth did it for an experiment.
Dude, the fucking worst is like when I finally decided to like clean my room like that month or something, pouring the piss jugs in the toilet and having to smell it.
What would be worse if there's like a drive-by by your house, someone fired into your house and like hit you in the shoulder with a bullet, or they missed you and it was like that fucking Lincoln Park or Corn where that bullet's going through?
Oh, I know what you mean.
And like it hits your piss jug. What would be worse, taking a bullet to the shoulder or a bullet to the piss jug?
But let me add to it. The piss gets all over you.
Me or my electronics?
You.
I'm fine with that.
Like all over your electronics.
Fuck yeah, I'd rather take the bullet. I'd rather take the bullet.
I would love to see Tooth. Like, not really love to see us because that sounded bad.
Why are you rubbing your nipples when you say that?
Like, that's not. But imagine like there's like a bullet flying into Tooth's room, and he jumps to take the bullet to stop the bullet from hitting his piss jug, so the piss wouldn't get on his electronics. No.
Fuck yeah.
Piss jug, he could have just fucking taken away at
It
time.
shouldn't be there.
Anytime.
It shouldn't be there.
The
All right.
podcast is now about this.
Okay, here we go. Where the fuck were we? Okay, so the crew, they're still out in the middle of the ocean, and they decided to take the ship to Halifax, Nova Scotia, which would have been the nearest convenient port, but that is like 750 miles away. And the entire crew, they know there's a murderer on board and there's nothing they can do about it right now. And the nearest port is 7 nights away. So that's like 7 nights of just being like, fuck, dude. Who knows if there's an axe murderer is going to come in here and murder me or not.
Absolutely.
Or like, who knows if an axe murderer is going to come in here and see my little wormy when I'm changing.
That's dude, the fucked up thing is that's always what I'm worried about.
If I was on the ship, that's what I'd do. I'd be like, fucking kill me. Just don't look at my little wormy.
Dude, one time I fucking accidentally like walked in the wrong hotel room and I saw Kevin changing and I thought he finally downed that whole tequila bottle.
Holy shit.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Tequila. That was good. And nobody is really certain who the murderer is, although they have narrowed it down to 2 people. The only 2 people on board that have been strange and acting weird, Thomas Bram and Charlie Brown. So no one could decide, though, which one of the 2 did it, but they felt it had to be one of them. So they put them both in irons and kept them secured until they arrived at the port. And then after they did finally arrive, the entire crew was brought back to Boston for the trial and to figure out what the hell happened.
I feel like they may have just like had like 2 things. They're like, Charlie, dude, we have 2. We got to put you in one. we know it's Bram, but you got to fucking go in there, bud. Like, I feel like they just didn't want to not use the other one.
Sure.
Like, we got it, bro. Like, let us use this. You got to go in there, too.
Like, they're talking about, like, how they think Thomas, Bram, and Charlie are probably the murderers.
Yeah.
But the whole time, like, Charlie is the one. He's, like, in the group talking with them. But they're like, yeah, we think you're one of them. Like yeah, we should probably chain up the two that we think did it. And he's like, I got a bad feeling about this. I got a bad feeling about. Like, dude, motherfucker, we're talking about you. You are one of the people we're gonna fucking chain up.
Did they ever look at Lester's controversial notebook that he had?
I don't remember. What was it?
He had written down, and I think it's a poem he was working on. I feel irrational, so confrontational. To tell the truth, I am getting away with murder.
Oh, my God. Holy
But at the bottom of it, he signed Lester, then crossed it out and wrote Thomas Bram.
That fucking sealed the deal.
So the trial began on December 14th of 1896, and after hearing the crew's stories, the indictment was against Thomas Bram.
Okay, good.
The key,
Huge surprise. I'm fucking surprised.
Yeah,
The-
sounds good so far.
the key testimony came from the three that were the nearest to the scene of the murders, which would have been Monks, Brown, and Bram. Monks, he was immediately excluded from any suspicion in the case. Brown told about how, from his position at the wheel, how he saw Bram murdering the captain in the chart room, and talked about how Bram was really weird and strange after the murders. And when they told this to Bram retorted with, he couldn't have seen me from the ship's wheel. Which some people take as an accidental confession, but some interpret it as an innocent statement, much like in the Keddy cabin murder, when the dad made the statement about his son, like, there's no way he could have seen me, or he's like, he possibly could have seen me. But in this case, I don't think it was an accidental confession, because I think if Bram wasn't even in the area, like, say he was in like a completely different room, because he was seen coming downstairs. So if he did come downstairs from up top, I don't know how he could have been seen in the chart room. So maybe he could have been like, how could he have seen me? Or like, he couldn't have seen me because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends on how he said it, really. I mean, it could be taken either way, how you can interpret it. Either he's saying like, oh no, there's no way he could have seen me, or he couldn't have seen me because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it's all for interpretation, so I really don't know how he meant it.
Totally.
Was this so long ago that like the courtroom and all the judges had white powder wigs on?
Yeah, I hope so.
Probably. We'll just say yeah.
Dude, I wonder when they outlawed that shit. That shit's so
It's
fucking
actually
funny.
probably not, but like we're like I do want to say yeah.
Okay.
Actually, they just outlawed that a couple weeks ago. They're tired of the fucking having to pay all that money for the powder.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
I think
Yeah,
the last
they're
time.
sick of LeBron.
They got
last-
sued by the oatmeal guy.
Oh my god. The last time they saw a guy put a wig on, he told everyone to leave Britney alone.
What the? Why?
Nice.
Why?
Nice.
So Bram now, he is claiming that Brown is the murderer, and Brown is claiming that Bram was. And motive was something that was a real problem, though, because nobody knew why the three were murdered, and nobody on the ship really knew each other either, so no one can find out a real reason why you would kill those three. Some say possibly robbery was a motive, but there's no real motive that they could settle on.
Yeah.
I got really tired. Well, from what I remember, both like those two other guys, those two trains like smashed into each other, is because they were both trying to rob separate trains, but they had that one accomplice that, you know, the spot where they switched tracks. Well, they both switched it and just went like a big circle, so it still stayed on the same one. That's why it smashed.
Thanks for clearing up one of the mysteries, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew. That part right there was for the people that missed Andrew because he's not on here as much as he used to. That was for you guys.
Yeah, by the way, this has been another episode of the Brothers Commonplace. We're done.
And there were some people that they found that were willing to testify in regards to Bram that knew him beforehand. And they stated that he had mentioned in the past that he entertained the idea of turning pirate, But that's like pretty fucking ridiculous. And even the court is like, we can't use that. We can't just take the word of random people saying, oh, yeah, he mentioned he wanted to be a pirate. You know, it's like.
Yeah, dude, we'd all fucking be in jail.
Well, arrest him.
Every murder, every male would be in jail for it.
They were pissed because every time they went to this bar trying to get this secret microbrew, they kept seeing the door labeled pirate.
I see a door marked private.
So they couldn't really use the motive of Bram wanting to turn pirate, but the good news is they didn't let it completely go to waste because they did end up arresting Tommy Pickles afterwards.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It took me a while to word that.
Oh, they're supposed to be bringing out new episodes of that show I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard the one train was attracted to the other train. You know what he said to himself? Yeah, I'd smash.
That's good.
I like it, dude. I like it.
I was actually worried that when they did finally arrest the pirate, they did mix him up with Steve the pirate.
Oh, yeah. Hey, wait, there's a guy on our team that's a pirate?
I was trying to think of a Meet Virginia joke.
Wait a minute.
She doesn't know when to dress. The wreck is always a mess. I got nothing.
The Bram the pirate kind of makes sense because he wanted that booty.
Oh. It could have been the money and the booty,
So-
too, yeah.
So it was Andrew.
Wait, was
the
there ever a question that we've known it was Andrew this whole time? We said that earlier.
So that was in regards to Bram being the killer. Now when they were talking about the possibility of Brown being the killer, the court had to answer the tough question, would Brown have been able to somehow leave the wheel long enough, head down and commit a triple murder, and then come back to the wheel before anyone knew? The prosecution argued that he could have tied the wheel down long enough for him to do so, maybe. However, experienced seamen...
Andrew?
That usually takes me about a half hour to get that.
Well, not me last night, but all right.
Experienced seamen insisted that the conditions faced by the Herbert Fuller ship that night would have made it impossible to immobilize the wheel for more than a minute.
Be politically correct, Kevis, now the Herbert Full.
And so, after jury deliberations on January 1st, 1897, Bram was ruled guilty and sentenced to death.
By what?
By hanging.
Ooh.
Oh, I was thinking that.
But Bram would soon receive a second trial.
Oh, shit.
I forget the exact reasons why. I think it was something about him being questioned in Nova Scotia first on arrival, and then that being used against him.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this happened back then, too.
I couldn't find a ton of details on it, but it's second trial time, and this time, Bram is found guilty, but this time without the death penalty. Because there were a couple of jurors that thought he was innocent, so this was a compromise. Like, hey, well, fuck it, let's not kill the guy.
Yeah.
So,
We'll just come all over his chest.
That's what happened to Andrew.
and so Bram would then spend the rest of his days in jail. Or would he?
Woody Andrew.
Sometime around 1913-ish or so, Mary Roberts Reinhardt, a pulp mystery writer, was looking for some information for ideas on a new book that she was writing, and then she stumbled upon the Herbert Fuller murders. She liked the story, but decided that she needed to add a plot twist in it, and so she changed the story up a little bit. He also likes to change things up a bit. That fucking Bam Margera show. What will he think of next? Whatever the fuck I want. I'm going to give you what you want.
Is that Viva La Bam?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
So now in the story, she decides to change it up a little bit. The Herbert Fuller was now a yacht, and Charlie Brown was actually the murderer. And he had mental delusions that would lead him into the killing spree. Her book became extremely popular, so popular, in fact, that Teddy Roosevelt was a fan and took a big interest in the case. And he seemed to buy into the account that Mary had written, where Brown was now the murderer and he had mental delusions that led him to this. And Teddy Roosevelt lobbied for President Woodrow Wilson to pardon Bram. What? To which he did. Although he didn't declare that Bram was innocent, he did pardon him in 1919.
Jesus. I mean, how old was this fucker at this point?
I'm not quite sure.
It was about 20 years later.
So he was in jail for like 15 years, I think.
Yeah. So he's been in there for a good minute. Yeah, okay.
Was it 15 or 25?
They might have been 25.
It happened in 96, and he got out in 1919.
Oh, yeah.
So a little bit over 20 years.
So now let's go on to the theories. But before we jump into the theories, this is kind of what we're going to talk about. If Charlie Brown possibly did it, if Thomas Bram did it, or Lester Monks, or somebody else. So in regards to Charlie Brown doing it, he was the one who made up pretty much the entire story, saying that he saw Thomas Bram do it, even though there's probably no way he could have actually seen any of that happen. And then he also changed out of his clothes, and it was said that he may have thrown bloody clothes overboard as well. So I think that's pretty fishy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Although
There's the chance that it's him, but
although they said they don't think he could have left the wheel long enough to do it. So I think that's pretty weird.
yeah.
As far as Thomas Bram goes, he was the one who started acting really weird, and he initially stated that they should have continued on their voyage and deliver the cargo. So some people think that's a little shifty. And supposedly he warned Monks beforehand that he shouldn't go on this trip, which I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, it's kind of all hearsay. It's like a bunch of, oh, well, he said this.
And then he also threw the axe over. So some people think that is a little weird. And then also Lester Monks. He was the student, the alcoholic that was on board, the only one who was there just pretty much for fun. But he was the one who claimed to hear the screams. So he's the one who said he heard the screams, and he's the one who discovered the murders first.
Yeah.
And his room was the one connected to the chart room. And he was pretty much not even really a real suspect. And then also after the murders, he took over as captain pretty much.
Yeah.
So who do you guys think it is and why?
I would say Bram just because of like how he started acting. I guess you can make a case for Brown. I really don't think you can make a case for the Harbor guy. Is that Monks?
Yeah, Lester Monks.
Yeah, I don't really think you can make too much of a case for him. I mean, maybe a little bit, but...
Or, sorry to interrupt, or just someone completely else on ship.
I guess I never really thought about anybody else. But between Bram or Brown, I still think Bram. He started acting different. He threw the axe overboard. Yeah, obviously back then they weren't gonna get any like DNA off it or anything. But still, I feel like you still even back then would try to get rid of the murder weapon. And I don't know, started acting different. Talked about how the dude didn't deserve his wife because that was the same one that did that too, right? I mean,
yeah, that was
supposedly. So yeah, I think it's Bram.
All right, guys, cut this shit. Let's get right down to it. This might be a podcast, but nobody can see this, but I need to know. Raise your fucking hand if you think it was Bram.
I really don't. I don't know. I don't know if he could have done it. If he came from I don't know if he would have had the time to do it, honestly. It seems like he's the obvious choice, but something about Charlie Brown's, I don't think Charlie Brown did it either, but the fact that, like, everyone is making shit up, I don't know. I just don't think. I don't know who it
But
is.
Charlie Brown was driving, dude.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, the whole story against Bram is that he was acting weird. But, I mean, after you're stuck on a ship where 3 people got murdered, I'd probably act weird, too.
And throw the axe over? You know, I would kind of be on your side, except for the throwing the axe over. That's really weird.
I'm going to go out a little on a limb. It's pretty ironclad. Not much you can really debate on this one. It's not any of those 3 fucking pussies. They didn't do it. They didn't fucking do it. It was Rico Harris.
Oh,
No, why?
Hold on. I'm going to explain. You know, he went missing. Nobody ever found out where he was. But when he was traveling in that forest, he found a wormhole. And when he hit that like he fell into it because he was so tired from not eating for like 30 hours or whatever.
yeah.
He fell into that wormhole. That wormhole shot right down onto the ship.
Like
he
back in
landed,
time.
back to good. Timmy's got it.
Yeah,
He was reading the same paper I was.
I was, yeah.
And he picked up the axe for some reason. He was like, "Oh, this is nice," but everybody's screaming at him because he's just a giant dark guy in the whole building. They couldn't see him at nighttime.
Yeah.
So he's like trying to go. He's so tall, he's hitting his head on everything. So he has the axe and he falls. He lands on the captain, killing him. So then he's trying to oh shit, what did I do? Then the wife comes in. She's like, oh my god, and he's like trying to run over and be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this. And he hits his head again. He falls forward and kills her. So it's just a big old accident because right before they get to shore, he like jumps off and hits that same wormhole and comes back.
Comes right back, dude.
But where'd he come back to?
I don't know.
Well, he had to go somewhere else.
Yeah, he probably went back to.
We figured out Moron Mountain. We figured it out. Yeah, we figured out Moron Mountain.
Well, I just think he's. This is also the same ironclad theory I have for Jack the Ripper too. So
Yeah.
it's all just Rico Harris.
Poor guy, dude. Apologize to Rico
I'm
Harris.
sorry, Rico.
No, he's not.
I've listened to your episode of ours like 50 times.
This
That's why.
this is a good theory.
So I don't think it was Charlie Brown or Thomas Bram. I think those two guys are definitely the weirdest and the shiftiest, and it's like they both did questionable stuff, like changing out of clothes at night. I think is really weird. Making up a story about seeing Thomas Bram do it when I don't think there'd be light or enough for you to actually be able to see that. I think that's a little weird too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I don't think Charlie Brown did it because I don't think he could have gotten away from the wheel and done all that.
No.
Thomas Bram, I don't think it was him either, because if he was seen coming down from above, then I don't think he would have had time to do all that and then go back up and then come back down. I do think it is weird that he was acting all crazy and stuff, but if I was stuck on a boat where 3 people just got murdered and I knew I was stuck there for a week, I'd probably act weird too.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Although I don't really think throwing the axe over is weird to me. Because they couldn't get like fingerprints or DNA or anything off it. I think it was a superstitious thing. So I think it was either somebody else on the ship that we didn't even mention, or maybe the Harvard student had something going on we don't know about. Because, I mean, he was an alcoholic. He was in the adjacent room, and he said he heard the scream, and he was the one who like discovered it. But I don't have like a motive for him, or I don't see why he would do it at all.
Yeah.
And I think most of the story, some of it is based on what he saw. So I don't know. I think it was either someone else or Lester, but I really don't have a good enough theory on anyone really.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was the 2 obvious ones, just because I think it's
like too obvious, maybe.
I don't know. There's just no good theory to back either one up. Like each one has like all these strikes against them, but not enough for me to 100% say it was them.
All right, well, can I recant my Rico Harris one?
Your ironclad theory?
Yeah, it was. This one's more ironclad. I just been thinking about it the last 30 seconds. I read like multiple chapter books, little kid, Goodnight Moon versions of this killer doing this. Chris Benoit.
Alrighty.
All right, that is way more ironclad.
Okay.
Wait a minute. He killed them with the axe handle from the top rope.
Oh.
Yes. Game over. That's who did it.
Alrighty.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Who wants to do our closing shit? Normally
Wait a minute.
Spence's.
Holy shit. I got my theory ready.
Okay.
So they were killed with an axe, right?
Yeah.
So you're thinking Juggalo, right?
Probably.
But you're like, wait a minute. No, they weren't even like ICP, like were born in like the 70s, reached popularity in the early 90s and everything. Like it wasn't them. Taurus, born in 1775.
Yeah.
Are you like 300 and something?
Exactly.
But you're still alive. I mean, I heard you used to hang with the original Billy the Kid.
Oh,
All right, so I guess our theory is it, are we going to say it was violent? It was either probably, Andrew has a good point. It was either Rico Harris, Chris Benoit, or Violent J.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we would like to hear your theories, and if you have any theories or have any, if you even listen to this far to the rest of this podcast episode, let us know. Reach out to us. We're on all the social medias on like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're under the Brothers Commonplace. Or you can send us an email at brotherscommonplace@gmail.com. And you can also listen to all of our episodes on either iTunes or brotherscommon.place. And if you haven't left us a 5-star review on iTunes yet, that would mean the world to us. It would mean a lot to us. And we will make you an honorary brother for doing so. So each week we read an honorary brother, and we just pick that from someone who left us a 5-star review. So if you want a shout out, let us know, and we'll do that for you. And also, if you want any stickers, send us a message and let us know where to send them, and we'll send you a couple stickers. Sometimes I draw nudes of Andrew doing what he does. So
They're awesome.
And normally, like, I know it's probably your favorite thing to do when you draw me nude in the middle of the card. You always draw these, women with these huge heaving breasts with the charts.
This is a weird bank.
And Andrew, for some reason, he likes me to draw that scene from The Mask whenever he goes after getting the loner card and he puts those two mufflers up those guys' asses. He likes me to draw that, but both guys are just him. Bring out the loner.
So good.
So I had to track down an old ECW wrestler because I wanted him to give our podcast a shout out. So I was like, RVD, if you can rate our podcast out of your finishing move, what would you give it? He's like, I give it a 5-star frog splash.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah, you would.
Dude, one time we had like a meet and greet thing and Spike Dudley was there. And my mom went up to him. She's like, oh, I'm a big fan of yours, Spike Fugly. No, I made that up.
You apologize to Spike Dudley.
He was still proud, though, because I was the only person in line to come see him.
Because I remember one time I went up, I was like, Spike! And he was like, holy shit, someone knows who I am. I'm excited. I was like, can I get an autograph? And actually behind him was Spike from Little Giants. Alrighty, Tim, you got some words you want to say, man?
I do.
You know how they say, like, nothing in the universe is, like, equal? Like, everything's something different? Well, there's the, for Spike Dudley's line, there's his regular line and the express line. They're the exact same length.
All right, so I like to have you guys, like, request us to, like, do some scenes from movies and stuff. And I've never asked you guys to, like, request one specifically for me. And I don't really think that I could do this one with anybody else. Like, somebody could act out what's happening, like, and like what I'm reacting to. But basically, I'm the only one that's going to talk. So if you guys request it with a 5-star review, I will do the scene where Smalls watches while the fucking, is it the jet? Was that
Jet?
Yeah, while the jet steals home. So I will do that whole scene being Smalls and yelling while the jet steals home if somebody requested with a 5-star review, because I kind of would have to do that alone.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But
You're going to pickle the beast.
Yeah, but I do kind of hope one of you guys at least does the, like the movements of him stealing home.
How about this? How about you'll pickle the beast, and then the part where the dog jumps over and you just see a close-up of his beautiful bouncing balls? We'll get my dad to do that part.
Deal. We need a 5-star review first.
Alrighty, words of wisdom. Who's it coming from? 2 for Andrew, or do you want to get some words of wisdom from both?
Let's get both.
So me and Andrew lately, we've been doing like this live Twitch stream on this porn site, and what we do is we follow girls who get out of hospitals for seizures, and we follow them till they have a seizure, and then we come on them, and it's called Frosted Shakes. We were banned on Twitch immediately after we posted that.
Holy shit, dude. I don't know if I want to do mine. That was really good.
To make it even worse, we dress up as pizza guys, and the pizza shirt is Little Caesars.
Oh, come on. Jeremiah.
Dude, that was so fucking good. I don't want to do mine after
Holy shit, dude.
this. Mine's not funny, really.
I feel like finally, like I love you guys, but I feel like finally, thank God we got some real words of wisdom this week. All right, Andrew, words of wisdom, dude.
All right. I was looking through. I've been trying to figure out how to code all our videos into the background of all these websites. So, you got the countdown shit. There's always like a little TV going in the background. I want our fucking videos to be playing in the background. So when this happens, I found this one, and this is the one I've been putting in there the most because it's probably the best one to go right over because there's always a fucking TV in the back. It's a found footage one, but they're like just outside, but they're going through like, I don't know, like a house or trailer, and they're panning through. They see this giant dick, and there's all these girls like trying to, get their mouths around it. And then when it ends, it's BJ for CJ.
Oh, yeah.
So in the background of that scene, you're going to have our podcast playing. Oh, is it going to be the Rico Harris episode?
It's probably going to be like Rico on one screen and then Chris Benoit on the other one.
Oh, fuck, yes. You get to see both culprits.
Oh, God. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we shut her down? Alrighty. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be good.
Stay safe.
Laugh at the dark stuff. Hashtag.
Wild man.
Hashtag wild man.
Hashtag pretzels.
Hashtag wild woman.
Hashtag pretzel dog. Hashtag where's Rico?
Where the fuck is Rico?
Hashtag threw the axe overboard. Hashtag threw the axe man of New Orleans overboard.
Oh, fuck. Figured it out. Hashtag figure it out was a good show.
Hashtag Summer Sanders. Where you at, girl?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Hashtag Summer Sanders. You still single? You slutting it up? Call the brothers. Hashtag 1-800 call us. Well, I'll pay for that shit.
Hashtag after Bram killed her, he yelled, "Daddy's an axe man."
Hashtag I Browntown.
Alrighty, that's it.
Like we practice. Come on down. Come on down, down. Come on down to the brothers down. Commonplace tonight.
Well, if everybody out there wants to know that I have a bleached asshole.
Has anyone ever gotten their asshole like waxed in the paper thing we rip it off?
No.
I think I'm doing it soon.
I mean,
I went like a couple of days without taking a shower,
you're
and
just having your...
I got a fucking handful of dingleberries, and they were brown.
You just having your girlfriend do it, or...
No, she won't do it.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah. Dude.
I don't know if that means you need to
Remember how
wax your asshole, or if that just
No.
means maybe you should shower.
No, dude, it's the other way. Like, remember
It
my
might
belly
be a little
button?
bit of both.
Remember my belly button could collect lint like a motherfucker?
Yeah, if you have hair there, yeah, that's true.
Well, I got hair there too, also. So
All right.
the fucking death trap, dude.
The funny thing is, I hope this all stays on the podcast.
It's fucking bad, dude. So if fucking someone in the Ohio area listens and they want to fucking become the first celebrity,
Holy
then they
shit.
can fucking... Like, remember how you found Jesus in, like, the wood or, like, Jesus
For
in the bread?
French toast.
Well, if you fucking put the wax on my ass and rip it off with the paper, you might find Jesus on that fucking strip, dude.
Dude, we haven't even released this episode yet, and my social media is blowing up with the people that all are getting in line to do that.
Guys, there's somebody at the door.
There's someone at the door.
What was that black SUV? Is that Secret Service?
The Starlight Lounge presents An Evening with the Progressive Box.
Old moon, yeah. That's Hugo, tickling the ivories. He just saved by bundling home and auto with Progressive. Gonna finally buy a ring for that gal of yours, Hugo? Send her my condolences. Hi-oh! This next one's for you two. There's a burglar in my heart. Thank you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance. Which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.